What up, players? It's Woboss Tay up in this mud. Today we are going to finish our World Eaters Marine. He's not even a World Eaters, I'm sorry, he's a Warhounds Marine. So World Eaters because these Warhounds eventually become World Eaters Space Marines. For those of you who don't know, who do not have the Betrayal book, who have not read up on your World Eaters history, go check it out in the Lexicanum or on the 40k wiki online. Really awesome story about how they started out as these guys, the Warhounds. So today we're going to show you how to do the iconography. We're going to bloody up the skull down here hanging from his waist, very predator-like, and we're going to finish him up. So hope you enjoy, stay tuned, and thanks for watching. Alright players, we are back. We are ready to finish off this Warhound, aka pre-Heresy, Great Crusade era, pre-Angron Legionnaire. World Eater. So I'm using the Warhammer 40k.wikia.com article on the Warhounds to get all of my like color scheme, inspiration, and all that stuff. So if you follow along to Known Oil, then you can kind of see where I'm getting my ideas for all of these color schemes. And just paint in here for a second. Alright, so it looks like when you're looking at this guy's armor too, that the visor is a dark green. So I'm going to paint it with Cabalite green. That's the same color as the guy's visor that we painted. Just got to be really careful when you're going in there and go from an angle that you can get. It's a Cylon. Right. So we're gonna come back with, actually what we can also do is take a little bit of this Known Oil, wash it down, and shade the belt buckle. So I'm going to show you in just a little while how I'm going to go about painting the insignia on his belt buckle. Let that dry. Let's see, let's say that this trophy is very freshly taken. So we're going to do some Tamiya Clear Red, which is my favorite blood paint. Add just a little bit of Abaddon Black to make it look like oxidized blood. And when I say a little bit, I mean like really just a touch, just a touch. Add some water. Whenever I make clear red, I just kind of use the cap. Especially if I'm just using clear red by itself or adding in a little bit of black. There's no real reason to go and put it on your wet palette. I mean, it's not gonna destroy the cap or make it look any worse than it already is. This is just me being lazy. Of course, if you want, you can really do it on a wet palette. But I'm just being lazy. I put too much on my brush. So good, Tamiya Clear Red, so good. Okay. So these guys fought with the Emperor's side during the Unification Wars, or the wars to unite Terra before the Great Crusade started. So we'll say that this blood is dried on the skull. And you get an effect like that. Now, if you want, which I kind of do, I kind of don't, I'm not sure yet if what my feelings are, you can also put some blood red on the chainsword, but we'll leave that dry for now. To me, a clear red, grossing out hobbyist girlfriends since 2007. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how I'm going to draw on the legions at the time, their symbol. I've got a micron pen, 0.005, and it's red, as you can tell from the red label. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at the symbol on the website, warhammer40kwiki.com, and then I'm going to kind of put it side by side and just kind of see if I can draw it on as accurately as I can. Dog. It looks like the profile of a dog. When I was a kid, I used to do shadow puppets. And you know how you make that dog. Okay, so it's okay if you mess up, because base coats is base coats, you know what I'm saying? That is really just there so that you can fill in the lines with some Doom Bull Brown. Scooby-Dooby-Doo! So we have a very vague shape right now, and we're going to leave it like that so it'll dry. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take a black micron pen, 0.005, we're going to really draw in the detail. But while we're waiting for that, we are going to paint up, or repaint the rest of the armor. So we're going to use Runefang Steel, which is the new Mithril Silver, and this is going to be the color of our rivets. So why are we using this color instead of, like, say, Lead Belcher or, gosh, was anyone, or Iron Breaker? The reason is that we want our rivets to have a little bit of a pop to them. Okay. So now we're also going to take that Runefang Steel and we're going to edge highlight these shoulder pads. Edge highlight just means really lightly on the edges, so that we are just giving the impression of light reflecting off of the edges. We're not really painting any of the flat areas. So when you're edge highlighting, good places to stick to are corners, like here, here. corner, corner. Any flat, really flat edges like the handguard here of the sword. Front of the mask. It's not too much, we just want a hint of that burnished metal look. Like right around the edges. Yeah, that looks really nice. Didn't realize also that, yeah, there's also the shoulder pads. So it looks like this guy here on the Lexicanum site has a tactical squad marking on his right shoulder pad and the Warhound symbol on his left shoulder pad. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the tactical mark first. And remember, the tactical squad is the one with the double-sided arrow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, sorry if you have to crane your neck to look at it this way, but it's the only way I can do it. I'm going to plot out 4 points. The reason we do points is because if you look at the model after the points and you want to change them around, you still can. Okay, then we'll put the center points for where the tips of the arrows are. Then we will start to draw them in. So from the center tips out, we'll draw a straight line. Now I am by no means an expert at this technique. I just learned it and wanted to share it with you all. So, hey, practice makes perfect though, right? Right, so I'm just adjusting my arrows just slightly. Making huge mistakes, but not caring. I don't care. It's alright, don't worry about it. And you have something that looks really, really terrible. But the trick is we are going to let that dry and we're going to come back and fix it. Now this is what's going to be a little bit harder. This Warhound iconography on this guy's shoulder. It's almost like the lion in the Bretonnian transfer. I wonder if I could possibly use that. You can't even really see. Yeah, what the overall shape is, but it's something like that. All right. This guy's like, "What are you doing to my armor? This is the worst armor job I've ever seen." Let's see if this pen is a little darker. Okay, I've actually got a pen that's a little bit darker, like almost like a brown. Probably should use that. That's okay. So now we're going to use Mornfang Brown to kind of set where the edges are. And if you want to use the Micron Arts pen that is black or a different color, that's fine too. If you want to just paint all this on, that's fine too. What I've noticed when I paint iconography on, it looks pretty rubbish, which is why I purchased the Micron Arts pen. So there, as you can see, I outlined the arrow. as best to my abilities as I can. Now for this. The good thing about this icon is that it's actually painted in rather than that arrow, so that you can actually use the lines as guideposts and paint in the lines. Oh, just like kindergarten. Paint in the lines. And there you are. Legion symbol. Kind of looks like a giraffe. Do I have a Micron, a black one? Oh, I thought I had a black Micron Arts pen around. I might need to go back over it. Okay, so with the other side though, it's just about dry. So we're going to take some Celestra Gray, and we're going to fill in that unsightly spot in the middle. This video should really be called Warhounds, how to do Warhounds iconography. For those of you who don't live in America, this Sunday is our Super Bowl. My lady friend and I don't really care much for sports. We are more intellectual. I just say that like I'm bragging, but in actuality, the reason why I don't like football is because when I was a kid, I think I was 8 years old, 8 or 9. I remember being in the 2nd grade. The kids and the boys in the neighborhood were playing a game of touch football and two-hand touch. So not tackle, because we were flipping 7 years old. But touch football. Keep that in mind during the story. And then one of the boys in the neighborhood has always been a little slow, not quite all there. In fact, he reminded me a lot of you, Igor. You mean he was very handsome and charming? Sure, why not? Anyways, we were playing a game, and he was opposite of me, and then we're doing that whole down set, hup, hup, blue 32, height, and I wasn't even anywhere near the ball. He just happened to be across from me, and this guy hears the hike, and then I guess he's always, whenever he watches football with his dad, he knows what that means. It means the guys run forward and tackle the guy opposite them. So there I am. I think he was in the 4th or 5th grade. I'm in the 2nd grade, and he runs up and tackles me. And oh boy, I think I was out for like an hour. Couldn't see. My little 8-year-old brain, I'm pretty sure, had like a little mini concussion, but this was back in the days when nobody cared about concussions, and they're like, shake it off, walk it off. But I was lying there in the yard for a good long while, and that is why I do not play football or enjoy it as a sport. Oop. Also, this video is really all about painting blood effects on the skull and doing iconography. Scooby-Dooby-Doo! Oh, and rivets, I guess. We're gonna cut it off there. I think the last thing we have to do really is just some really basic highlights. So in fact, we don't have to cut it off. We can go a little bit longer. I'm gonna take some white scar here, and this is gonna build up on our Celestra Gray, but we're gonna use it very sparingly. Because white scar is so bright, we use it very sparingly. So, I've got my white scar, just going to brush it on the center at the top. Yeah, see how that is really bright. Look how bright that one little streak of white scar down the side is. So we're going to take some Celestra Gray, blend it into the white scar. If you don't want to go this last highlight up, you don't have to. It will make your model stand out on the field though. Like here we're painting a little lens. So this white scar is really like an edge highlight, kind of like the Rune Fang Steel was for the shoulder pads. Really attacking the edges, the curves that are the most prominent. Like Kim Kardashian, those curves are the most prominent on her. Igor. I know, I've been hanging out with Lewis, I'm sorry. So we're trying to blend the white scar as subtly as we can. I'm actually getting kind of miffed by the whole thing. To me, Celestra Gray is light enough. So I'm gonna just say Celestra Gray is gonna be the main color, and leave the white scar for the edges here, like on the light thing. And we can say also for the edges on the belt buckle, we'll put some white scar there. But for everywhere else, I feel like it's a little bit too bright. The model seems to work well with this darker Celestra Gray as the white. Now again, this is only personal preference, so if you happen to be doing Hounds army, don't know anybody who would be, but if you are, then you can definitely go up lighter. But for me, my vision of the Hounds is darker and grittier. There you have it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to paint the base, and we'll come back and we'll wrap up just after this. In fact, before we go and wrap up, I just noticed something we can do. I've got some art coat, so So what I'm gonna do is take a little bit of white scar and we're gonna dot one corner of our little lens up here. Very light dot there. And then we're going to give the lens a coat of, here we go, BL10 green. And then we're going to wash it with some art coat. So I'm gonna let that dry and then I'll put the art coat on in a bit. But I'm gonna do some basing now and then I'll come back to wrap it up when it's done. And there you go, players. We have finished basing and we gloss varnished a little light. So now our Warhounds guy here is ready to go. And really enjoyed painting him. I would love to see these guys out on the field. Their blue is not as overtly stated as the Ultramarines. It's a nice subdued, like I said, shadow gray kind of blue, and knowing that these guys are going to one day grow up to be the World Eaters is pretty nice once they meet this guy. Daddy? Son! Let me give you a hug. Yay!